What's up, everybody? Mattao here, and welcome back to Matteo's Corner, the place where we can sit back, relax, and talk about things I think are pretty cool to talk about. From what I have gathered, you've clicked on this video because you saw what the movie was, and I want to say flat out, this is not Superman and Batman Dawn of Justice. This is not that movie. This movie came out in 1998. It was direct-to-video. But what none of you might not know is that this video is actually a compilation of 3 different episodes in the Superman animated series way back when in the 90s. Well, for you new people, a lot of you will be like, the 90s? That wasn't that long ago. Or, I was born in the 90s. To me, it feels like long ago, especially with all the new tech and stuff out right now. And all the advancements of, even movies is just, way more than the 90s ever had. But anyways, the movie I'm talking about is the Batman-Superman movie, a.k.a. The World's Finest, which was what it was called in the animated series. For those of you who have not seen this movie, spoiler alert. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. And as usual with spoilers, don't watch my review unless you really don't care about spoilers, or if you've seen the movie already and you know what I'm going to be talking about. Just throwing the spoiler thing out there because I know a lot of people get mad when reviewers just go into the review and they're like, oh, well, you ruined something that I didn't know about. But that's what a review is. We talk about the movie. So, anyway, spoilers are out of the way. Let's get right to it. Batman vs. Superman. I'm going to keep saying this throughout this entire review. It's not Batman vs. Superman. Okay. Superman and Batman World's Finest. I'm just going to call it World's Finest because it's just easier to say. If you didn't notice from the cover, I'll give you a better view of the cover here without much glare. There we go. This is a movie which, of course, Batman and Superman. And then, Lex Luthor and Joker over here being a creeper, just like, hey. Yeah, Batman and Superman World's Finest. It's, animated, of course, duh, it is animated. It came out near the end of Superman's TV show. I don't know how long that TV show ran, but I only have the 2nd season. It's the only one I've been able to find, and it was on that. So that's how I first found it. Was on TV a long time ago. Again, this has been out since 1998. And at the time, this was the equivalent to Batman and Superman Dawn of Justice. This was the Batman and... Oops, wrong way. This was the Batman and Superman movie. And everyone that talked about Batman vs. Superman movies, they were like, oh yeah, you mean that animated movie with the Joker and Lex Luthor? Where, Joker, all that stuff. Yeah, it was that movie. It was that movie. And, yeah, there was no, to my knowledge, there was no other, crossover movie like that of Batman and Superman. But enough about the little logistics of the movie. What is the movie about? How could you make a story that's so good that it becomes its own little mini-movie thing, or even gets onto a show like that? Well, it begins, again, spoilers, starts out in Metropolis. Joker is seen running around Metropolis. He's a little low on cash, so he decides to go and talk to Lex Luthor. And he makes this wager with Luthor. He goes, look, you're dealing with a man in tights. I'm dealing with a man with tights. I want to take a break from the guy I'm dealing with, so pay me $1 million and I will personally go and kill Superman. And at first Lex Luthor's like, that's stupid. Why the hell would I trust you to go kill Superman? And then later he's like, oh, you know what? If I'm not involved, go ahead. Go kill Superman. Because, what does he have to lose? If Joker's not involved, it doesn't make Lex Luthor involved, what does he care? So, while the Joker's... And Harley Quinn's also in this, for all you guys wondering. She is in this. So, Joker and Harley Quinn are off running around doing their own thing. And then, meanwhile, Bruce Wayne himself comes to Metropolis, because... Why did he go there? Oh, yeah. It's because... Sorry, I just watched the movie and I can't think of it. I'm so tired. I was up all night writing this review. Bruce Wayne's there because Lex Luthor and him have a business deal. And Bruce Wayne came because he's like, I want to see his progress. I want to see what's going on. And, shortly after he touches down in Metropolis, Lois Lane and him kind of have this moment. And Bruce Wayne kind of, flirts with her, and Lois Lane kind of flirts with them back. Excuse me. And you have this thing where Clark Kent's just kind of sitting there, like, trying to figure out, like, what the hell's going on between the two. And it's actually kind of hilarious, because you have poor Clark Kent tries so hard to, like, have make Lois have feelings for him, because he's also Superman, she likes Superman, and then you have Bruce Wayne, who's like this suave, like, rich man, and, they really hit it off, and then Clark gets a little jealous. So on top of, Joker being around in Metropolis, you have Batman running around Metropolis, trying to find Joker, and Superman and him constantly, like, butting heads. You also have this thing of Lois Lane and Bruce Wayne having this little love connection thing, and Clark Kent's in the middle of it, kind of battling for her affections at the same time, or, trying to make her not go toward, that Wayne guy, he might be dangerous, like, he's very against, Batman and her having a thing, which makes sense, he's worried about Lois. So anyways, the rest of the movie is basically, Batman and Superman teaming up to take out Joker and Lex Luthor, and then there's this whole big finishing fight thing, and, overall, it's a really good movie. I mean, it's so good, it got, the votes on Rotten Tomatoes is an 80%. That's hard to find with certain movies, especially one that's, like, a superhero movie that was, like, animated, that was way back when, or maybe that's why it did so well. Maybe it's because we had, what are their names? We had, oh god, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, and Alan Burnett. I mean, these guys were smart. They really were. Like, they knew how to write those animated series, like the Batman and the Superman, and I think they went to do Justice League later. If not, it has that connection of just, it's going to be good because you have these master, like, and you can also tell everybody had fun working on this. I mean, Mark Hamill as the Joker's always a treat. I grew up with that Joker, so to me, he's the definitive Joker for me. But I also would say that Heath Ledger's really good for a live-action one, but I think Mark Hamill's really good for an animated one. Especially during the time period that the animated series was supposed to be, and, just in general, he was a very kooky Joker. And in this movie, he's the perfect balance to the guy that plays... Sucks, I can never remember the guy that plays Lex Luthor in the cartoon. It sucks, I really need to remember his name. But he's the definitive Lex Luthor, like, even in things after these cartoons, like... He always comes back to be Lex Luthor if he has the chance, because he's such an iconic version of Lex Luthor. Like, everybody knows him as Lex Luthor. Like, Joker, everyone has different interpretations, but, like, Lex Luthor, it's like, he's the one guy. And they're so good. He and Mark Hamill are so good together when their scenes, that's the other good thing about this movie, is that it doesn't just focus on Batman and Superman. It also focuses on, like, the Joker and Lex Luthor and how they do business and how they talk, And there's a couple scenes in particular that it cracks me up every single time I watch it. The one in particular that I'm thinking of is Joker. It's after his first attempt at killing Superman fails, and Lex Luthor goes over to intimidate him and be like, you weren't supposed to mess up, etc., etc., And Joker sits there and he's like, Lex, let's talk this over like businessmen. And he, like, straightens his suit, and he goes, have a seat, and he sits Lex Luthor down in this nice, comfy chair, and Joker sits down in this other chair. They're just kind of sitting there, like, talking like businessmen. And in the background, you have Lex Luthor's sidekick henchwoman. I don't remember. I think her name's Darcy. Her and Harley Quinn are just, like, beating each other up in the background. Because she threatened to, like, hurt Joker, and Harley Quinn's like, you can't do that to my pudding, and she, like, starts hitting it, like, they're, like, wrestling, and they're, like, punching each other, and throwing things at each other. It's, like, this big, literal, like, fight going on. And in the middle of it, there's Lex and Joker just being like, well, this part failed, let's go do something else. Or, oh, I think that's what, well, as long as I'm still not involved. You know, it's like this, it's the perfect, like, subtlety to, like, the chaos that's going on around him, and it's just, like, I don't know, to me it makes me laugh every single time. And, there's other moments in the movie, too, like, when Batman first meets Superman, it's animation. Oh my god, the animation in that movie is so good, and there's certain parts in the movie, like, there's a nightclub scene where Batman, trails this one, mob dude to a nightclub, and the shadows and the lighting effects, and for this cartoon style, oh my god, I loved it. It was like, you could eat, I mean, clearly they were going for more of the Superman animation, but that one moment, and a couple other moments too, are like pure Batman animated series. It's just like, oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie. But yeah, honestly, I don't know what else to say about this movie. It's so good. The story alone is worth being adapted into maybe even live action. Maybe you change around a couple things, and maybe instead of Joker, maybe it's, you know, a different Batman villain, and maybe instead of, you know, you could change a couple things, of course, you know, like, you don't have to keep the exact same story, because that'd be copying, but I mean, really like how this movie, The World's Finest, has survived for so long, because it really deserves it. I mean, the animation's good, the voice acting's great, great cast, the story is superbly thought out. I mean, there are a little bits and pieces here and there that are kind of like, but that's every movie. Like, even the Avengers had stuff like that, and I still think the Avengers is one of the best comic book movies of all time, and this movie, too, like, even though it's animated, this is one of the best miniseries / movies of all time. Anyways, if you've never seen this yet, go watch it. Also, even if you're not into animated movies, I would give this movie a look at. It's worth it. It's really worth the 1 hour running time. Again, it's also not that long. So, anyways, everybody, this movie gets a pass. Actually, not even a pass. This movie gets straight up. I don't have a gimmick for movies that fail or live in terms of my reviewing. I'm a very casual critic, but when I want to rage on something, I do. You'll know when I do. But I've said nothing but good things about this movie, so I'm pretty sure you all know that this movie does get a pass. It's worth being mentioned in DC's main everything. Like, of all the movies that I've seen of DC, this is one that clearly stands out, and it clearly knows what it's doing. And it set the stage for a lot of other stuff. So, oh, and of course the show's involved with it too. I mean, this came from a show, so, you know. Anyways, as always, I will see you guys next time. Take care!